Standard 4 EVS2 Lesson 10 Baji Prabhu and the Memorable Battle of Godkind. I'm sure you all remember what we learned in the last lesson. Pratapgarh makes history. How Shivaji humbled Afzal Khan, the most powerful Sardar of the Bijapur court, and destroyed the whole of the Khan's army. Shivaji conquers Panhala and Adil Shah gets angry. Now, Bijapur was still mourning the death of Afzal Khan and the complete rout. Rout means total destruction of his army. Adil Shah was very sad, and at this time Shivaji captured the Panhala fort from the Bijapur garrison. This threw Adil Shah into a fit of wild rage. Means this made Adil Shah very angry. He could neither eat or sleep. So, what do you think he did? He dispatched another Sardar, Siddhi Jawar, against Shivaji. That means Adil Shah sent Siddhi Jawar to fight against Shivaji. Now, Siddhi had a huge army, and Fazal Khan, that is Afzal Khan's son, also accompanied Siddhi Jawar as he wanted to avenge his father's death. The siege of Panhalgarh. Now, what is the meaning of the word siege? Siege means when the fort is captured by the enemy and all the supplies to the fort is stopped. No food grains, nothing, and no one can enter the fort or leave the fort. Now let's see what happens. Siddhi Jawar was a very brave man, but he was also a ruthless and a strict disciplinarian. So he laid siege to Panhalgarh, and because of this, you know what happened? Siddhi Jawar's men surrounded the fort and confined Shivaji within the fort. Also, no supplies could go inside the fort. The rainy season was soon going to begin, so Shivaji thought that once the rains begin, Siddhi Jawar would lift the siege. But Siddhi Jawar did nothing like that. He did not let his men relax. On the contrary, with the arrival of the monsoons, he further tightened the siege. He made his men stand guard even when it was raining heavily. So the supplies in the fort were running out. All the food grains and all that was needed in the fort was getting over. Now Shivaji was in a fix. What should he do? He realized that he could not force Siddhi Jawar to lift the siege, and also that he would not be able to win against Siddhi's huge army in an open battle. So he decided to deceive Siddhi Jawar by a clever ruse. That is, he planned to trick Siddhi. He sent a message to Siddhi Jawar saying that he would very soon surrender the fort. As soon as Siddhi Jawar and his troops heard this, they were very, very happy. They were already tired, as for so many days they were guarding the fort to see that nothing entered the fort. So now, when Shivaji said he was surrendering the fort, that means giving up the fort, they were so pleased. They felt that finally they could relax and started eating, drinking, and listening to music. Shivaji's escape from the siege. Shivaji, as you know, was very quick in making plans. So he hit upon another clever plan to escape from the siege. He decided to arrange for two palanquins. He said in one he would sit, and the other would be occupied by a person disguised as Shivaji. For this, Shivaji asked a person who looked very much like him, and this was none other than his hairdresser, Shiva Kashid. This Shiva Kashid was a very brave and courageous man. He was loyal and ready to die for Shivaji. Anyone who looked at Shiva Kashid would think he was Shivaji. So they made the plan that Shiva Kashid would be dressed in disguise as Shivaji and sit in a palanquin and would leave by the Raj Dindi. For if he left by this way, his palanquin would be easily seen or spotted by the enemy, and Shivaji would leave in another palanquin using a difficult route so that the enemy troops would not see him escaping. This was the plan to deceive Siddhi Chauhar. And so, as planned, on a dark night when it was raining heavily, the palanquin carrying this brave Shiva Kashid, who was willing to give up his life for Shivaji and for Swaraj, came out of the Raj Dindi. Even though it was a dark night and it was raining heavily, still some enemy soldiers were keeping watch. The palanquin of Shiva Kashid was captured. They thought that they had caught Shivaji himself and they were overjoyed. They took the palanquin to Siddhi's camp. But actually, do you know what really happened? Shivaji escaped from the fort by the difficult route. He was accompanied by Baji Prabhu Deshpande and some other soldiers. The Bandal Deshmukh army accompanied them. After some time, Siddhi Jawar came to know that it was not Shivaji but Shiva Kashid, and that Shivaji had tricked him and had escaped. He became very furious. He killed Shiva Kashid then and there. Shiva Kashid willingly sacrificed his own life for Shivaji and Swaraj. Because of this great sacrifice, though he was killed, he is remembered even today. Thus, he became immortal in history. Now that Siddhi Jawhar learnt that Shivaji had given him the slip and had escaped, what do you think he did? Yes, he immediately dispatched his Sardar, Siddhi Masood, accompanied by a big army, in hot pursuit after Shivaji to catch him. Shivaji was in the lead, but at daybreak the pursuing horsemen caught up with Shivaji at the Pandarpani stream. Shivaji was now in real trouble. With great difficulty, he and his men crossed the Godkind. Baji Prabhu the Brave, the angry troops of Siddhi Masood were fast galloping, means riding fast on horseback. Where were they galloping? Yes, towards the Godkin Pass. Shivaji saw that it was very difficult, actually almost impossible, to reach Vishalgarh, as it was a very long journey, and that too he had to climb a steep path to reach Vishalgarh. He knew that Siddhi Masood and his men could easily overtake them. So Shivaji stopped and said to Baji Prabhu, Baji, this is a very critical situation. The road ahead is steep and the enemy is right on our heels, means just behind us. It is now impossible to reach Vishalgarh. So let us stop here and face the enemy and fight. But Baji Prabhu understood this difficult situation that they were facing and the great agitation going on in Shivaji's mind. He knew that the enemy was fast approaching the pass and that Shivaji's life was in danger. And if anything happened to Shivaji, then they would not get Swaraj. So he told Shivaji that he would take care of the Godkin Pass and would fight against Siddhi Masood and his troops, and that Shivaji should carry on and go to Vishalgarh. He said, Maharaj, you take a handful of soldiers and please go. I shall defend this Godkin Pass and will not let the enemy cross it. I shall even lay down my life if need be. If I die, there will be many other Bajis to take my place. But no one can replace you, as it is very important that you stay alive so that you can establish Swaraj. Our Swaraj needs you. So this great and brave man decided to send Shivaji away to safety. He told Shivaji, please do not wait. Go ahead. The enemy will attack in large numbers. We cannot hold out against them with our limited force. That is, Baji Prabhu had very few men with him to help him fight against Siddhi Masood's big army. Yet he said he will stop the enemy at the entrance of the pass till he knew that Shivaji had reached Vishalgarh safely. Baji Prabhu's words and his sense of loyalty brought tears to Shivaji's eyes. He was most unwilling to sacrifice this gem of a man for his personal safety. But he had no time to think of these things. He wanted to achieve his ideal of Swaraj. He fondly embraced Baji Prabhu. That is, he hugged Baji Prabhu and said, "We shall move ahead towards Vishalgarh. As soon as we gain the fort, guns will be fired. That will be the signal of a safe arrival. As soon as you hear the gunfire, abandon the pass and follow us to the fort." So Shivaji left for Vishalgarh, leaving Baji Prabhu to defend the pass. That is, to take care of the pass and to stop the enemy from crossing it. Baji Prabhu made a low bow to the receding figure of Shivaji, as he knew that he most probably would not see Shivaji again. And then he prepared himself for battle. Baji's defense of the Godkin Pass. He took a sword in his hand and stood at the entrance of the pass. He divided his company of soldiers into small groups and posted them at different places. The Mavlas took their positions and collected huge boulders, that means large rocks, and stones to be used as weapons. The Mavlas knew that the enemy was close by, as they could hear them shouting their war cry. But they were not afraid, as they were now ready to face the enemy. By this time, the enemy had reached the mouth of the pass. Baji Prabhu told his troops, "Don't be scared. You are my brave soldiers, so be prepared to fight. You may die fighting, but do not desert, meaning leave or run away from your post. Do not allow the enemy to conquer the pass, no matter what price has to be paid." So Baji Prabhu and his Mavlas stood at the mouth of the pass, firm and fearless, awaiting the enemy. The pass was difficult to cross, there being only a narrow and a zigzag passage across it. At the other end, Shivaji was speeding towards Vishalgarh. The fort was still far away and would take Shivaji at least 2 hours to reach it. If Baji Prabhu could hold out for those 2 hours, then Shivaji would be safe. The Battle of Godkind. By now, the enemy was at the mouth of the pass and a fierce battle was in progress. The brave Mavlas moved swiftly. They had collected many big rocks and boulders and were throwing it down the hillside on the enemy as they tried to climb the hill, and killed many of them. The first batch of the attacking troops withdrew in confusion. That means they ran back, not knowing what to do. Another batch took their place. The Mavlas continued to throw boulders. Now they were also adept, meaning skilled, in the use of the sling, and aimed smaller stones at the enemies and harassed them with showers of stones. The enemy was confused and they withdrew, means again they ran back. Baji Prabhu kept talking to his men, giving them instructions, encouraging them to fight on. The Maratha war cry, Har Har Mahadev, echoed through the hills, and the brave Mavlas cut down the enemy troops in the fierce and desperate attack. The Mavlas continued fighting through the din of battle, that is, all the noise, as they heard their captain, Baji Prabhu, shouting, "Bravo, my lads! Go ahead! Attack! Destroy the enemy!" These words encouraged them to keep fighting. The second batch of the enemy troops were also defeated. Shivaji was by now almost at the foot of Vishalgarh. But Vishalgarh was also besieged by the enemy. So Shivaji had to fight those troops that had surrounded Vishalgarh, which he did, and he reached Vishalgarh safely. Baji the Brave. In the meantime, the battle at the pass continued. Baji Prabhu and his Mavlas kept fighting even though they were wounded. Siddhi Masood was very angry as the first two batches of troops that he sent against Baji Prabhu were defeated. So now he sent the third batch of troops against Baji Prabhu. Yet Baji Prabhu continued to fight with great courage. He was now badly wounded and attacked from all sides. His body was covered with blood. At the same time, he urged his Mavlas to attack the enemy. Disheartened by the fearful attack, the enemy again withdrew. Baji Prabhu was fatally wounded. He was hanging on to life, just waiting to hear the sound of gunfire from Vishalgarh. Godkin became Pavankind. And then the sound of gunfire was heard from Vishalgarh. Baji Prabhu was filled with joy as he knew that his Shivaji Maharaj had reached Vishalgarh. He said, "I have done my duty. Now I can die in peace." So saying, Baji Prabhu breathed his last and died on this historic battlefield. When Shivaji heard this sad news on Vishalgarh, he was greatly grieved. Means he was very sad. He said, Baji Prabhu Deshpande laid down his life on the battlefield in the cause of Swaraj. He, though the battle had won, because of the great bravery displayed by Baji Prabhu Deshpande, but the loss of this brave man was very saddening. It was because of the brave deeds of patriots like Baji Prabhu that Swaraj was won. Their blood made the Godkin a place holy in Swaraj. Godkin became immortal in history as Pavankind. I do hope you understood and enjoyed this lesson. Thank you.